There are three main types of thesis statements in argumentative essays: closed, open, and counterargument. A closed thesis statement previews or lists the main points that will be made throughout the essay. Here's an example of a closed thesis. The death penalty should be abolished because it is cruel, ineffective, and costly. Here you can see the writer makes their main claim that the death penalty should be abolished, and then previews or lists the main points they will use to support this claim, because it is cruel, ineffective, and costly. This is called a closed thesis because the writer is limiting the main points they will be covering in their essay. This kind of thesis is ideal for 4, 5, or 6 paragraph essays. An open thesis statement, on the other hand, does not list the main points the writer will be covering. Here's an example of an open thesis. Climate change is caused by human activities, and immediate action is necessary to prevent disastrous consequences. Now, what the writer means by immediate action is not specified in the thesis. Therefore, this is an open thesis. These kinds of thesis statements are often used when the writer has 5 or more main points they want to cover in their essay. If a writer included 5 or more points in their thesis, it would probably be confusing and unclear. Therefore, in this case, it is better to use an open thesis. A counterargument thesis typically begins with the word although or while. It is called a counterargument thesis because the writer gives an opposing viewpoint before delivering their actual thesis. Here's an example of a counterargument thesis. While some argue that homework is essential for reinforcing learning and developing study habits, research suggests that excessive homework can have negative effects on students' mental health and overall academic performance. The purpose of a counterargument thesis is to make the writer sound fair and reasonable. Now let's see if you can identify these 3 kinds of thesis statements. Here are 3 thesis statements written in response to the prompt, "Should school uniforms be mandatory at school?" Guess which one is closed, open, and counterargumented. Number 1 is a counterargument thesis because it gives an opposing view before stating the actual thesis. Number 2 gives 3 precise points that support the main claim. This is a closed thesis. And number 3 is a simple and precise thesis, but does not contain all the points the writer intends to cover in the essay. Now that you know what closed, open, and counterargument thesis statements are, your task is to write 3 different thesis statements in response to the following prompt. Oh, and be sure one is an open thesis, one is a closed thesis, and one is a counterargument thesis. Good luck.